Hello everyone. So in this particular video we are starting a new topic, that is a Spark in a fabric. So in a fabric till now we have understand about the one lake, how to store a data in a fabric. We have understand about the one lake and the lake house. After that we have covered about the data ingestion. So for the data ingestion we have used a data factory and the data flow. Data factory we have covered, and also we have covered for the transformation data flow gen 2 data flow. Now we are going to start a new topic, that is a Spark. Spark is very much important from a data engineering perspective. If you have a large data and if you have to process those data, then we use a Spark. So everything we'll try to cover in this particular series. So let's first understand what is Spark. Let's first understand what is Spark, and then we will go further. So what is Spark? Spark is nothing but it is a general purpose in memory computation engine. Now let us try to understand what is general purpose, what is in memory, and what is computation. Okay, one by one. When we are saying a general purpose, right? What is general purpose? So general purpose means what actually was happening before coming to the Spark, right? Whenever you had to perform any kind of the operation, suppose you had to perform a data cleaning, for that you were having a separate tool, pig. This is one of the tool was available. Suppose you had to write any kind of the query, so for that what actually we were using a Hive. Suppose you had to use any kind of the ML operation, then what actually you will do, you will use a Mahot, that is one of the another library. Similarly, for any kind of the operation there were multiple tools was available, but when the Spark came into the picture, right, with the help of the Spark, each and everything every operation we can perform or do in a Spark itself. So each and every operation whatever is required to do, we can do in a Spark itself. For taking example, suppose you want to perform a data cleaning, you can do in a Spark itself. If you have to write any kind of the code, you can use a Spark SQL. If you have to perform any kind of the machine learning application, for that also you can use a Spark ML lib. So for each and everything you do not have to depend on the any kind of the tool. In a Spark itself you can perform all the kind of the operation. That's why we call it as a general purpose. Now let us try to understand the next thing, computation. What is computation means? Computation means what actually was happening when we'll try to compare with the Hadoop. Most of the time people try to compare with the Hadoop versus Spark, but we do not have to do the comparison between the Hadoop versus Spark. Hadoop provide three components. If you'll see, Hadoop provide three components. First is the SDFS, that is for the storage, and the second is the resource manager, resource manager, and the third is the map reduce. So this map reduce in a Hadoop we were using for the computation. If you had to execute or if you had to process it for the computation, we were using the map reduce in the case of the Hadoop. But when we say Spark is a general purpose in memory computation engine, right? So we do not have to compare the Spark with the Hadoop. We have to compare with the Spark with the MapReduce, because Spark is mainly used for the computation only. So that is the thing we have to remember. Spark we generally use for the computation, not for the other purpose. So that is the thing. Even you can use a Spark with the HDFS, you can use a Spark with the other resource manager. So that is kind of the thing we have to remember. Even if you want to use Spark with HDFS, you can use that. If you want to use any other storage service, suppose Amazon S3, that also you can use it. Any kind of the storage you can use that, but for the computation we generally use a Spark. That is the thing we have to remember, and that is mean by the computation. Now the third thing is like in memory. Now let us try to understand what is in memory. In memory is nothing but it is a RAM. You have to understand by the RAM. For taking example, Spark does all computation in memory. That is nothing but a RAM only, and that's why Spark is faster than MapReduce, and this is what people say. Now let us try to understand how Spark is faster than the MapReduce and how actually the process actually happens. So first let us try to understand with the MapReduce. For taking example, in the case of the MapReduce, how actually was happening, suppose you have a data that is available in a HDFS. Suppose this is a HDFS location, and suppose this is your multiple MapReduce task is available, and how actually the computation happen, let us try to understand. So this is the HDFS location where your the file is available, and this is the multiple MapReduce task is available, MR1, MR2 and all. Now in the case of the MapReduce, how the process happens, first it will try to take an input from the HDFS, that is the one time of a input task. Once it will process, again it will write into the HDFS. In the same case of the MapReduce 2 task, again it will take an input, again it will write. So multiple time input and output happens in the case of the MapReduce, and input and output multiple time when you are hitting the disk, right? And that is a very slow process. So that's why it is a slow. As now let us try to understand in the case of the Spark how actually it happens. In the case of the Spark, how actually it happens, suppose you have a multiple job, multiple tasks. So what actually will happen, first time it will take an input, it will do a computation and it will write into the memory only. Second time again it will not hit the HDFS. From in memory whatever the output, right, again you have to process, again it will take it from the second job only. Suppose this is the V1. After doing the process, it will not write to the HDFS. What actually it will do, it will write into the in memory only, and again it will try to process. Once it will complete all the operation, then only it will try to write it to the HDFS location. Only 2 times input output disk operation happens in the case of the Spark, but in the case of the MapReduce, multiple time we hit into the disk. That's why it is slow. I hope you got it. That's why Spark is faster than the MapReduce. So that is the thing you have to remember. So what is Spark? Spark is nothing but it is a general purpose in memory computation engine, you have to remember. And we have discussed about what is a general purpose in memory computation and all. I hope you got. Now let's try to discuss about the benefits of the Apache Spark. So there are many benefits we get in Apache Spark as compared to the MapReduce. The first one is the fast. It is faster than the MapReduce, 100 times faster than the MapReduce, because it try to process our data in a in memory. That's why it is a faster. In the case of the MapReduce, because the multiple input and output operation is required, that's why it was slow. But in the case of the Spark, in memory only we try to process our data, that's why it is a faster. Because of the in-memory caching optimized query execution, Spark can run fast analytics query against the data of any size. So that is the benefits of the Apache Spark. It is faster than the MapReduce. The second benefits we get is developer friendly. In Apache Spark, generally it supports a multiple API like the Java, Scala, R and Python, and the multiple language it supports. And this API actually makes our life easy. For any developer, it's try to make our life easy. We do not have to worry about the complexity of the distributing processing behind. We only can write any kind of the Python, Java, Scala, R, and we can use the library of that. That's why it makes the developer friendly. So that is the another benefits we get. Now third is the multiple workload. Apache Spark comes with the ability to run multiple workload, include interactive query, real-time analytics, machine learning, graph processing, and one application can combine multiple workloads seamlessly. So that is the third benefit. So it is a faster, it is a developer friendly, it support the multiple workload. These are the benefits of the Apache Spark.